Hi, everybody. This is Flo from KMS Reviews. And today I'm joined by the multi-talented singer, songwriter slash producer, Monelise. Monelise, nice to meet you. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here tonight. So let's start with your latest release, Sliding Words. What
Yes.
made this tune come to life, actually? How did this track happen?
Yes, it was actually initially written right at the beginning of the first lockdown. So I guess it's approaching its first year anniversary now. And we had a sort of spontaneous writing session with two of my co-writers, Claire and Luigi. And we started talking about this film, I think 1998 film called Sliding Doors, which shows how a woman's life could potentially unfold in two completely different ways, depending on whether or not she took a train at a particular moment in time. So we kind of started thinking, about this whole concept of, I don't know if you noticed, but the first few lyrics of the song are, I wonder where would I be if I'd chosen a different version of me.
Yeah.
So the premise of the film kind of inspired us to start thinking, about the fact that every single day is this huge series of choices. So technically, are we choosing a different destiny every time we make a different choice? And does every choice have this butterfly effect into
Mhm.
a potentially completely different outcome or destiny? So that was sort of the lyrical concept behind the song. And
Okay.
of course, you can look at it in a more kind of, yeah, galactic spiritual way, or a pretty like everyday sense too.
Yeah.
Um,
Since you mentioned
so yeah.
the galactic aspect, is this a main concept with your work? I guess this is one of the themes you work around and you even live around, maybe.
Yes, definitely. I'm incorporating it more and more into my work nowadays, and it feels very organic and right because I guess I've always had an interest in, spirituality, galactic things, the paranormal space. And when I started to really channel that into my music, it really felt like channeling my truest essence into my music. And I think nowadays, definitely one of my main sort of intentions with my music, and it's quite intuitive, but I think one of my main intentions is to really take people to a place beyond themselves and to show through my music that, we're all very multidimensional beings and there's much more than meets the eye in the
Okay.
universe.
So you just stole my next question because it would have been what's the essence of Monalise? So the musician, what's your drive and motivation to do this? But this is one of the main aspects you already told me right now.
Right.
um,
So exactly, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
but another point would be where do you draw your creativity from as an artist?
Yes. To be honest, it's kind of the source is there all around all the time. So it just depends on when I decide to pick things out. And I guess some of the most common sources are like films, literature, sometimes just dreams and visions too. And
Yeah.
yeah, and sometimes, lyrics and even melodies come out very intuitively. And recently I'm finding that the less I try to intellectualize, especially in the beginning of the creative process, the better it is. So yeah, like the less smart I try to be about it, the more true it is, if that makes sense.
How do you? That's more of a question of my own because
Mhm.
I'm doing a bit of electronic music myself in my spare time. And I always wondered how you connect the general idea, the creative idea, especially when it has something to do with poets or something like that. How do you connect that with working on a drum computer or on a electronic device?
Yes, so you mean how to combine the sort of like electronic world with a more poetic?
Correct.
Yes, well, the way I see it is, I can certainly see how an electronic environment could help bring a poetic world into being in its own way. So I look at the tools, like, the voice, the production, the instruments, as I'm just picking the best tools to bring this idea to life. And sometimes the electronic tools are the most kind of pertinent and relevant,
Yeah,
if that answers your question.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So, speaking of the electronic environment, I attended your online concert you gave last Saturday, and it
Thank
was
you.
really for me an intense show with great visuals in there because there were some pictures that were running into each other while you were performing, and the effects were quite stunning. So, can you tell us about the general idea of the show? Did you develop this show yourself, or did you have any help with that?
Yes, well, to be honest, it all completely started from the title, the Sliding Worlds Monelise Multidimensional Zoom Room. And it often starts for me like that. Like I'll just come up with an idea that completely scares me and freaks me out. And then I set myself a deadline and then I just manifest it somehow. Um, so that was how it started. I set this title, like created this overall vision, and then I was like, okay, how do I manifest this, and what does this actually mean, like sliding worlds, multidimensional zoom room? And in recent years, my work has been becoming a lot more multidimensional, specifically with the addition of visuals. And I've been realizing that the more I try to create a visual universe for my audience as opposed to just a sonic one, the more, the essence of Mona Lisa comes out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, how am I going to do this in a virtual environment? And yeah, I came up with this idea. Like, for instance, you mentioned the visuals in my show. I have a song called Memory. It was the first song we performed in the set. And it samples the voice of an early 20th century opera singer called Enrico Caruso. And so I started the whole set with like a little sample of an actual Enrico Caruso record playing. And then I had the spirit of Enrico Caruso as a hologram sort of sometimes entering the room as I was
Right.
singing. So I had to really, multi-dimensionally incorporate the singer of the song who inspired my song.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, these are, including the visuals, these are all your ideas, or do you have help with the basic concepts of the visuals and the sounds?
the concepts are pretty much usually mine, but I have some wonderful people assisting me on the tech and visual
Yeah.
side. So I had some help with creating the holograms and the Clockwork Heart as well, which was layered over my performance of the song
Mhm.
Clockwork Heart. And yeah, I have a wonderful tech wizard of an assistant who's also the producer of Insane. Um, yeah, and I also work with my wonderful friend who is an event manager. So she was helping me to manage my event. And sometimes we also brainstorm creative ideas together and
Okay.
come up with really wonderful things.
Do you plan on doing those concerts online in the future as well?
Yes, I think definitely it's quite a big task to put together something like that, but I really want to keep doing it and refining it, especially if it helps people, if this multidimensional approach helps people to transcend this whole barrier of, we can't really watch live music right now, so we have to sit behind our laptops. But if I
Yeah.
can find a way to transcend that limitation, I would love to do it again.
I think
So
I think you have great success in just defying these borders that end somewhere beyond the monitor, as with the visuals and with the whole concept, because you're very open to communicate what your idea behind all of this is. So not even in the interview, of course, but also in how you approach people with your concert idea as well. So I think this is the most you can make out of this mess right now regarding COVID restrictions. Yeah.
definitely, thank you so much.
Besides the concerts, what are your main projects for 2021?
Yes, so there's a few. I wrote a lot of music during the lockdown, so I've got quite a few singles lined up for release, approximately every 2 months. So the next one is currently scheduled for April 8th.
Mhm.
And aside from that, I'm also going to be launching a big multidimensional experience. I can give you a very exclusive preview of the idea now. So it will involve a deck of cards, which will serve as a mythological journey through my work, as well as being a sort of tool for transcendence and galactic experience.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first place I ever spoke about this, so
Oh,
just a little preview.
only on KMS reviews. Yeah,
Mhm.
so is this just in the making, or do you have a ready concept ready to be produced and sold?
Well, it's probably going to be launched around the 30th of April, but the
Okay.
base concept with, the Monelise Oracle cards has sort of actually existed for a while, but currently I'm developing everything else that will go with it. So that's just the foundation, and there will be lots of other branches stemming from it. But, like for instance, for people who enjoyed the virtual concert and my live gig in Edinburgh in 2019, I think might definitely be into the cards experience.
So this, I guess, this also can be transposed into the live gig once there are live gigs again as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, can't
Okay.
wait.
Me neither, because this whole thing is taking way too long now.
Yeah, it's a little bit like it used to feel like there was an end point, and now it's kind of indefinite, isn't it?
Right, but we hope the best.
Yes,
So
no,
thank you very much for answering my questions tonight. If you want to
thank you.
know more about Monelise and her work, please check out the links I provided down this blog post. And for anyone out there, the only thing I have to say is be safe and see you next time. Thank you for being with us. Bye.